to the Meeple Marathon, everybody. I have one more drop drive video for you. This one is my storage solution for the game. As I mentioned in my review, this box is packed, chocked full of stuff to help give you different modules to play the game a different way, either randomly or chosen during setup. It also gives you a nice way to store those. There's just one issue that I found with their storage solution. I'll mention that here in a second. But otherwise, everything that you are about to see in the box came in the box. So I haven't added anything post-market or anything like that. So, and for the most part, the lid lies almost perfectly flush. So here's a rule book on top. You are going to see a lot of baggies here. I know generally I don't like to use baggies, but it literally is the only way to get everything in here. So for the most part, everything up here on the top half is stuff you're going to need for a standard game. And then everything down here in the larger well is going to be the anomalies, which are the modules that you can add in either randomly or during setup to change up the game, making it more of that sandbox style. So let's look up here at the top first. We have our walls sitting on top as well as our sun. Then I went ahead and individually baggied each character's stuff. So what you're going to see in here is a few things. You're going to see the green player ships, their die, and their their booster marker things. I also have gone ahead and given them one scrap, one fuel, 4 of the little tokens that you put in on the planets to signify that you've dropped off there, as well as 1 of each color crystal. The reason I did this was because I feel like in a 2-player game there's almost an overabundance of stuff. There's almost too much stuff, making it too easy to swoop around, pick up a bunch of stuff, maximize your cargo, and end the game pretty quickly. So what I have decided to do is reduce the amount of crystals out on the board for a smaller player count. That means that there's always going to be a certain amount of crystals that drop in. I've got this bag here. This is my big bang bag. This has got some fuel. This has got some scrap. It's got 2 of each crystal and the anomaly tokens and the planets. This is what I'm going to drop out no matter what. But say I'm playing a 2-player game, I'm also going to add in all of this stuff too to my big bang drop. If I'm playing a 4-player game, I will add in even more, and there'll be more stuff for more players to pick up. So that's the way I decided to do that. Plus, this makes setup super quick and easy. I just hand this player that. At the end of the game, then you can just tell them, put all of your player color pieces, give yourself 1 fuel, 1 thing. This blue player technically has 2 extra tokens. I think they just give you 2 extra in case you lose them. So I had to put them somewhere. But otherwise, if you're playing with 2 players, you need 8 tokens. So there you've got your 8 tokens. You don't need to count out the rest. This just to me seems a very clean way of doing it, making setup super easy. Tear down a little more fiddly because you have to divide everything out, but as long as everybody's doing their part, it shouldn't take very long at all. Also, I think it will improve games at the lower player counts by having less stuff out there. It'll extend the game a little bit more. We have our credits here divvied up into individual baggies. You could put these all in one bag if you wanted to. And again, you could put all of like the Big Bang stuff together. You could then just give, you could have all of the player components in one bag. It probably would reduce things down a little bit if you really didn't like how full this was. The rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. I've got the exploration cards here that fit into that specific card well. Then I have my ship front and backs, as well as the planets. And this is just the planets, okay? Underneath that, I have my captains, because here is all of our anomaly cards. So you can see all the different anomalies. Now, if you play randomly, you simply shuffle up this deck, place it down. When you come across an anomaly token, you would draw one and add that anomaly to the game. Then there's this token. I can't honestly remember what this token is for, but it's large and it just sits there under the bottom. But since there's only so many anomaly cards and they're the only standard size cards, there is enough room to drop the stack of 5 captain's tiles, and there we go. So those fill up that side. All the rest of the baggies get kind of piled up here. The Big Bang baggie fills in this space in the middle, and the sun and the things just rest on top. Over here, we have all of our kind of random scenery. I think this is just stuff that you can drop in. A couple of these go along with the anomalies, but it doesn't say you need the token. So I'm not really quite sure why there's this, like, you know, ship from the future thing like that or anything. But those are just in a baggie. The rest of this is the anomalies, and you'll notice we have these fun little baggies. If you got your game and you were wondering what the heck these are, these super shiny, these are not card sleeves, although they look like card sleeves. Excuse me. These are to hold your anomalies. These are actual individual bags, which I will show you here right now. So, for example, this is the Space Mines anomaly. This is the card that tells you the instructions for it. So if you want to add it, goodness gracious. If you want to add it during setup, you would do the alternate setup down here. Otherwise, the long range scan setup is when it's drawn out of that anomaly stack. But this Space Mines requires the Space Mines tokens. So there they are. Everything is kept separately. There are a few, and I considered putting, for example, the Space Mines in here, but they didn't. They fit pretty nicely. These components didn't quite fit into the envelopes that well. So there's a few times where I'm going to need to pull out one of these envelopes and one of these little baggies, for example. Or here is the Dyson sphere, which I had to take apart, but it can easily be put back together, and all the Dyson sphere components are right there. Or then there's some like the Space Beast here that is literally just a single token. That's the only thing you need to make this anomaly work, and we're good to go. Or the UFO, and these lay really nice and flat. Or Wormholes just has 2 tokens. But here, for example, is the Maelstrom. You need the Maelstrom card, or the tile. So this is one of the thicker tiles we get in the board. That's a cardboard tile. As long as this Maelstrom little token here, as well as 10 blue crystals. So these blue crystals are in their own separate little bag. That's what you pull out. The only thing I don't like, because these are really slick. These are really nice. I don't think these are going to rip and tear. It's pretty decent thickness. Plus the edges here are really nice and thick, so they're not just going to break open very easily. They hold everything well. It's a nice addition that they didn't need to. They could have just said throw everything in a baggie. My only issue is that this well right here ideally needs to be a little bit wider and a little bit taller, or width and thickness, or whatever, height and width. It's deep enough to store all these components, but the size of these envelopes just is quite too big. See how I gotta kind of scrunch them? The envelopes get scrunched here on the edge. Just realized I had a lot of that off camera. So they go in there, but not without kind of shoving them in. So again, I really like that they provided you with these. I think they're really slick. As long as you're putting in the the flat ones first, it works out pretty well. And there you go. There is enough room to easily put the rest of this stuff on top. And so you could play a game without you could play a game without anomalies. That is possible. That's your choice. Again, they are modules. And never even touch this half of the setup. And that's perfectly fine in my opinion. Otherwise, you just pull them out as needed. You can pull them all out ahead of time, or you can pull them out during setup and choose a couple to randomly add to the game. I have no idea if the game is balanced if you add them all in. That would seem a little crazy, but do what you want. Again, this is meant to be a sandbox game. This is a lightweight sandbox game that is just supposed to be family weight and fun. A little bit of spatial dexterity element to it, and then you go with it. So here you can see I'm just kind of fiddling everything back in. These don't quite fit here, but they fit in here enough to get this to close. I'm probably going to throw the sun over here on this time. Move this stuff around a little bit, and there we go. So the box is probably going to close pretty flat this time. Yeah, look at that. So there you go. That is my recommendation for how to store your copy of Drop Drive with everything that comes in the box. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Look at that. No lid lift. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Have a great day.